It's June 8th, 2021, and this is Girls Just Want to Tell Stories, episode 13. You are invited to join me and my longtime BFF, Katie Walters, as we use a question and answer format to learn more about each other on National Best Friends Day. I'm Janine Lombardi, and this is Girls Just Want to Tell Stories.
Wow.
That's new.
Big Brother is watching.
Right? All right. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, friends. We are back, and we are back. You'll be listening to this episode potentially on National Best Friend Day, and we got this really fun idea to use the format of this podcast to ask each other questions about the other person, right? Like the test of how much do you know about your BFF? And as we were thinking about it too, we decided that even if we get all the answers wrong about each other, it doesn't mean we are any less friends or love each other any less.
That's right.
We just may not know what the other person likes on their pizza, and that's okay.
Right.
And the fun part about whether you've been married to somebody a long time or you've been friends a really long time, there are always things that you can discover about someone, and it's fun to ask the questions or to play these sorts of games if you're on a, Katie, you said you did this recently on a long car ride with Joe.
That's right. Yeah, because he's always like, what's the next podcast? What's the topic? And so I told him, and so I asked him, like, some of these questions. We played the game, and, even after, 27 and 3/4 years married, there are certain things we didn't know about each other. So it was fun. Yeah. Nice trip down memory lane as well.
And I'm laughing because I said, well, maybe I don't even know the answers for myself. Like, right. I haven't maybe thought of this situation or this thing, and I don't know what I would answer. So that'll be interesting for us to see as well. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope maybe you take some of these questions and ask them to your BFF or to your family or friends and get to know each other even better and have some fun. That's what today. We were gonna record maybe at a different time where we could have kind of our happy hour cocktail with the podcast. So I think we might do that a whole nother episode where that's the whole thing. We start after the bottle of Prosecco or wine.
Right.
See what stories come out then.
Oh boy. Lots of editing.
Yeah, really, really, really. All right. So I think we're going to just dive right in.
Yes, ma'am.
And, again, we are free flowing here. So I'll ask the question or try to answer the question on your behalf, but we don't have to even do the same ones, right? We can skip around like.
Sure. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. So the question is, where can I always find you? Right? Where, if I were looking for Katie, where would I find her? And, I'm going to give the quick answer about, taking out work and that kind of thing. Her lanai, right? So she's got this great kind of screened in patio area where she hangs out with Rocco a lot. And so if I think of you a lot and like where you might be and what you might be doing, hanging out there.
Good answer. Although it's almost the time of year where you open the door to go out there and it's like that heat.
Yeah.
It's almost too hot.
Okay.
But if I were going to answer that question for myself, dude, I'd be at the thrift store. I'd be thrifting.
Well, I mean,
you get a half point.
All right. All right. Fair enough. All right. All right. Your turn. You go.
Okay. So if Janine were to have a fantasy dinner party, who would she invite?
Ooh, who would I invite? That, and that's
you can't answer yet. You can't answer yet.
Right.
I got to answer.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay.
That's a hard one.
Okay. I would say, oh God, this is going to be a weird guess, but you're like Miss Coachy, loving, like getting everybody team spirit. I would say Tony Robbins, because I can't think of another like big coaching person.
Right. He's kind of scary.
He is scary.
Because I don't think he's too big. He would be like, I would be intimidated.
He'd be like a midget.
Right. Yeah. Seriously. Although that's a good like train of thought for who I might like to have over. And it's an interesting one. I was saying, sometimes I don't know how I would answer the question for myself. So that's a good guess. I used to always when I, if this kind of question came up before, I know you could pick dead people. Like someone like Amelia Earhart, who's like an adventurer who
Oh,
did
yeah.
something, like I would love to talk to her. Of course, no one got to talk to her after a certain point. So,
Oh, that's a great
so
answer.
someone like that comes to mind, and then sometimes too, maybe like I'm not a big celebrity kind of person, but that could be tempting, right? Someone that like a music artist that I really liked, or
Oh, yes, Bruce Springsteen.
it would be pretty cool to have the boss at dinner. Like,
Oh, right.
again, I might not know what to say or whatever, but I think I could invite him.
I do too. That'd be fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so for Katie, oh well, this is an easy one. Maybe I'll save that one for the end. Okay. Whew, your most embarrassing moment. Might have to pick that by like the decade.
Wow. Wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. I have one in my head, but I don't think you're going to know it,
Yeah.
even though I don't know if you were there.
Okay. I don't know. I would have to get, this definitely is guessing, right? Like, and it's more general, like when you were a flight attendant, that maybe because you were young and kind of inexperienced and what have you, and that maybe there was some sort of faux pas or embarrassing thing that you did as a flight attendant. I might guess there had to be some moments in that.
Okay, that's perfect. And
Okay.
yes, there are two little quick stories.
Okay.
And one of them is I was like racing from the international terminal to the domestic terminal because I wanted to catch a flight to go. I was like just finished my work flight and I wanted to catch a flight to LA to see, this guy that I was dating, whatever. And it had rained in New York and you had to go outside. And I, in my heat back then, like you had heels on and all your little luggage. And I'm running. And I turned to go into the terminal and my foot slipped and I fell, like spread, all my bags went flying. And I literally, my face smashed into the concrete. And all I remember hearing was, "Oh my God, look at the flight attendant or our stewardess, the stewardess, she fell down." And like people are like coming around trying to help me. I'm like, I'm fine, I'm gonna miss my flight. So that was one.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And the other one, which was more of a cultural thing, and I just thought about this the other day. We had a flight from New York to Tel Aviv. And as you're serving, the kosher meals to the people, the guy asked me if I was clean. And I'm thinking, how rude. Of course I'm clean. What do you mean? And, I was maybe 19 or 20. And I remember I went back to the galley and I said to the flight attendant, an older flight attendant, I told her, and she's like, "Well, you know what he's asking you, don't you?" And I said, "No." And she's like, "He wants to make sure you're not on your cycle because then you're considered dirty and they don't want you touching their food." So like they wouldn't let you hand the tray to him if you were on your period. Isn't that weird?
That is.
But I remember like I had no clue.
Yeah, right.
Well, young and innocent. I'm like, what the hell?
That's why I figured my guess was pretty safe. And the fact that like if embarrassing stuff's going to happen, it's going to happen when you're inexperienced, right? Especially
and
sure. And you were in these situations that were, like taking a flight to Tel Aviv. Too funny.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm glad you recovered and were able to keep your job.
Oh boy, me too.
And you didn't have any damage to your face permanently.
No.
You could have busted out a tooth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so all right, let's do this one. Name 3 things that we completely 100% agree on. So for Janina, 3 things that we 100% agree on. And I'll dig a little deep on this one. That we love our pets, that our pets are like our family. And we never really realized that because neither one of us are really pet people.
Exactly.
So that's kind of a new thing. And I would say that trust is maybe a core foundation for a friendship. And it's better to be honest with each other, even if it's tough, those hard truths, right?
Yeah.
What else do we 100% agree on? Well, certainly not like our favorite football team.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, it's not football.
Yeah, 49ers, Raiders.
But good thing only one of us is like a super crazy fan.
I'm getting less crazy as I get older. I just don't have the bandwidth anymore for all of that business. Um, and I think that just that we would agree that family and friends in our life is really one of the most important pillars that we share. Those are pretty easy ones, though.
Yeah, but they're important because they're kind of
Yeah.
in that core value kind of space, right? Where it doesn't matter what football teams we like, right, for the friendship, but it matters that we kind of believe in that friends and family, and like you're being truthful with each other, and appreciating the love of our pets, kind of thing. So I think those, not everybody maybe shares those beliefs with their friends necessarily. So I think that's,
I think
and
that's fair.
there's nothing a nice cold beverage can't make better.
Well, that was sort of somewhere floating about in my brain too.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I like this. This was a Katie. When I read this, I was like, oh, okay. So what fashion decision was your biggest mistake?
Oh Lord. The 80s give us lots and lots of fodder to choose from.
Right? Right? So let's see, from a fashion perspective, and especially if we go back that far, admitting whatever fashion mistake you made, I made as well, since we kind of dressed the same, right? So, I mean, and I laugh today when I see all the young girls in the like waist high pants and all the little crop tops, right? I remember having the crop top, right? And of course my mom not liking the crop tops, but yeah, I mean, I would have to say probably like just when we went over the top with like the Madonna lace and the bracelets and the like so much of it all kind of phase. We would have been pretty young when that was all going on in high school. But you were always very put together. So I mean, I don't think you ever showed up in something that I was like, ooh, that's gonna get people talking, kind of thing. But
Right.
I mean, there might be something. Does
Well,
anything?
it's funny that you say that because I was just, who was it? Oh, somebody that I was having a conversation with recently. And this girl is like really, really close friends with her. They'll show up to go out and she'll say, "You're not really wearing that, are you?" And I'll tell you afterwards who these people are because you
Okay.
know them really well. And I
Okay.
thought, wow. But
Yeah.
one is sort of like everything's always has to be all put together. And the other one's just kind of like, hey, here I am.
Right. Right. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Is there anything you regret having, like a phase of like clothing, style that you embraced and now you're like, ooh, I don't know why I picked
Well,
that.
it's all about the hair for me
Okay.
because going through all of the hair stages. But I do remember one time in particular where I did the ponytail on the side.
Okay, so that's funny because I did think about that. Like, I did think about the side ponytail. I remember when we got together at 4 or 5 years ago and we did the little dress up like the 80s. And
Yes.
that's like, I'm like, okay, we got to have one of these things. So, oh my gosh.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember walking in, I thought I was all that. And I remember walking into the gym for a basketball game. And my boyfriend at the time, I could see the look on his face. And he was like, oh, holy hell, what is she doing? Oh my God. And like people were looking at me because it was just really bad.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, and some of the things I see now, I'm like, oh, why is that back? Like it shouldn't be back. It should never have been, but it's back, and the other one I see right now, actually, I never wore them, was the Doc Martin shoes. Like
Yeah.
and the Birkenstocks. Like they love the Birkenstocks and the Doc Martens, and I'm like, neither one of those were
Yeah.
anything we ever were part of our, we were the pumps, as
Yeah.
our one friend liked to
Or the
call them.
wedgies.
Yeah, or the wedgies. Yep. Height. I was always going for
Right.
height.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the high jeans and the crop tops because Joe and I just went somewhere recently and there was a group of about 6 young girls, young early 20s, and they all were wearing high top or the high-waisted jeans and crop tops. And Joe says, "Why are they all dressed alike?" And I go, "That's what they do."
Yeah,
We
that's
did the
what we
same
did.
thing.
That's what
We
we
did
did.
the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So I don't even know if I would really know this answer for you. But Janine has 1 hour to spend $5,000. Where it's in the question says, where would she go? I would just say maybe what would you do?
Yeah.
$5,000 in 1 hour. I think you'd go for like the super duper spa, massage, super fancy everything. Give it to me all in an hour.
Right. Right. That's a good guess. And I think maybe, but so my initial thought is, how can I spend that much money in an hour? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe you go to some super selective like winery and you go into the cellar and you buy the $5,000 bottle of wine that's
Ooh,
from 19 whatever, or from France. I don't know, you know, some like
good answer.
fancy thing.
Yes.
And because I would be more about like having an experience, which like is what you were
Right.
talking about, like with the massage, as opposed to like buying something from a material standpoint. And I would never do that, right? Just go into some cellar. And I mean, spending a few $100s feels like a lot for a bottle of wine. So I can't imagine, like, it would be
Wow.
something to talk about, right? That I did that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
wouldn't that be fun?
that's kind of a fun question. Maybe if I don't know if you heard out here in California, this is funny. If you're vaccinated, it's like a lottery, and they're pulling people's names, and like 10 people are going to win $1.5 million.
Oh my God.
And then a bunch of people are going to win like $50 gift card kind of, you know, things for the grocery store. But so you never know when you might fall into some
Right.
extra money.
Do you get in that? Are you in the pots to get picked from? You are,
We
right?
are. Yeah.
There
yeah.
you go.
So you never
Okay,
know.
so if that happens, we'll go and we'll get the $5,000
Okay.
bottle of wine in some wine cave somewhere.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna make it, put that in the file. Okay. Oh, so this was a fun one to think about, because we talk about this a lot in the sense of, you know, where would you go if we could go on any vacation? And it says we, so I'm kind of thinking about like, okay, we're planning our next thing. Do have a little bit of a next thing planned, which I'm so excited for, coming up in August for to meet up in wine country. So there's our theme. But if we were, and of course, the first thing, we had such a great time on that sailboat trip we took down in the British Virgin Islands. And we've talked about, well, I know you really want to go to, you and Joe have been trying to get over there to Italy, right? So maybe like combining the two, even, because you can do that kind of a chartered boat thing in like Croatia along the coast in Europe, and go to some of the other countries or something like that. So if we were to do something kind of big and grand, I could see wrapping the boat into it again, right? Like, or maybe it's the Greek Isles this time, or because we had such a good time. But I might be
exactly it.
Oh, I would say, or I might be projecting my own desires on your vacation.
But we talked about it a little bit. We did talk about it, because for people that really want a vacation that allows for a lot of real intense quality time with the people that you really care about, to be on a small boat like that, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really be selective about the people that you're with, because it's a super tight space, but
right.
Amazing.
Right. And we did.
Amazing.
We had the exact right people on the boat, including our one friend's husband, who we had to have the face cut out because he couldn't join us, but he was still with us everywhere. That was so fun.
He was.
And she listens, so hopefully she gets a chuckle when she hears that.
Yes, yes. Okay. For Janine, this is a great one. I love this question. What are the first two songs on the soundtrack of your life? Okay, so
what do you got?
I'm going to say Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen. And then I'm going to say something by John Cougar Mellencamp. So I'm going to say Hurt So Good. No, Jack and Diane.
Yes, yes. And this just goes to show you, right? These are from the 80s, right? This is like, and how music, and how I think about that a lot with Connor, like the music that he's listening to right now. What are those songs that like 40 years later are going to be on his soundtrack? And that you nailed it. I mean, that, and anytime I hear either one of those songs, I am like totally transported to a really, it was a really fun time in our lives. And it does make me think of high school for sure, but then it was really but it was the later end. It was when we made the transition to, like, when I was transitioning to college, I listened to that Born in the USA soundtrack, or, you know, I guess at the time it was an actual album, maybe it was a CD or cassette, who knows now, but so it kind of, even some of the music kind of bridges different stages in life too. So yeah, see, that's why I would want him at my dinner party too.
That's right.
I could tell him that. I could earn points. And, you know, it's pretty amazing. He's like, I mean, he just keeps putting out music, and, you know, and he's still around in a really significant way, I think, influencing, you know, popular culture like he did way back then. So he's an icon.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss a super fun question on here. Let's see. Oh, okay. I don't want to answer this one just because it's a weak question. So when we're 85 years old, what will we be doing together? Okay. So I see, you know, 85 is the new, like, I don't know, 65 maybe. So I don't see us like in rockers or anything like that. I see us though, I see us walking, and depending, you know, if we're still not living close to each other, you know, if we're together and because one of us, we're visiting each other, I see us going on walks with whatever pet whoever has, right? I see us walking. I see us at the beach, right? We both love the beach so much. And having a foo-foo cocktail, you know, hopefully with an umbrella in it still, and laughing and just telling stories, right? And taking pictures to capture the moment. So we have those because we've got so many fond ones. So simple, not, you know, doing anything spectacular, but I see us together spending time and enjoying each other's company. So that's kind of a simple.
I do too. Yeah. Oh, it makes me happy.
I know.
The only thing that I would, in my head, as I was envisioning like what I would say, and I just saw one of these in my neighborhood. It's those little, they're bicycles, but it's like a three-wheeler, like, so it gives you more stability. And there's a little basket in the back, and there's a little lady that always rides with a little Yorkie in the back. So I'm like, oh, there we'd be riding on a little beach boardwalk, our little three-wheelers with our little dogs.
That would, oh my gosh. My Nana used to have one of those. Annie, she had the three-wheel bicycle. See? So that's so great that I'm in.
Hashtag senior goals.
We could spend our $5,000 really tricking out the bikes.
That's true. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. This one's funny. If we were stuck on a desert island, why would Janine be an asset?
Oh. Okay, can't build a fire, so don't guess that.
Okay, so there's no fire, there's no shelter. Okay, Janine would be an asset on a deserted island because of her organizational skills. So she would assess the situation, and she would make sure that there was somebody in charge of every important aspect so that we did have food and fire and shelter.
Great answer. I think that's true. I might not know how to do everything, but I could organize
That's right.
Well, and it's like, and figuring out who does know those things, right? And I have watched enough episodes of Survivor to maybe have an idea how to build some shelter and, you know, all that. But I certainly hope we don't get stuck on a desert island.
Oh, me too.
You know?
Oh boy.
What do you think what would be, I'm just trying to think, what skill would you bring if I was organizing?
Well, I have learned over the years, being married to a fisherman, how to gut a fish.
Oh.
So as long as somebody would catch something, I could gut the fish and fry the fish. So I could be the little camp cook.
Oh, right. Perfect.
Yeah.
And I would try. I would be in there with a stick in the water trying to get the fish. I'd be down with that. Okay. Well, maybe we might be okay. And I think I could climb. I'm small enough, and you know, depending how, if we were 85, it'd be different, but I could climb the coconut tree and get the coconuts down for us too.
There you go.
Okay, because I'm not afraid of heights. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of along, just connected, so it's a kind of a quick one. It's like, would you rather wear a snowsuit in the desert or be naked in the Antarctica? And I'm going to pick the snowsuit in the desert since that's where you currently live. And
Amen, sister.
you had your naked time in the Antarctica.
Oh my God,
Would
yes.
not want to go back there.
No doubt, no doubt.
Okay, so we'll do another one just because that was funny. Oh, this is, we might have Disney fans out there in our audience. And so the question is, if Katie was a Disney villain, so a villain, what would she be? You know, and this is a little bit cheating in the sense of, I don't even know how many Disney villains I know, but there's Cruella and she's all over the TV right now and she dresses fabulously. So I'm just going to say that from the fashion sense of the villain.
Love it. I love it. Even though she took all the way the little doggies and it was not nice that way, but yeah. And she's got that cool hair.
Yes, exactly.
So, yes.
So there's that part of it. Yeah. And I don't really remember the story. Does she come around at the end? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know either. And we're going to Disney this month.
You are?
Yeah. The adult children are all coming to town and they want to go to Disney. So we're going to Disney. Oh my gosh, we've never been to Magic Kingdom. So this is a first.
Really?
Yes. What have you been to Disneyland?
Okay.
But we've never been to Magic Kingdom, which is like the Disney World.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So if anybody has any tips, post them on our Facebook page, things that I need to see. And then we're also going to Hollywood Studios because they have the huge Star Wars thing and all of our kids love Star Wars.
That would be cool. I would enjoy that. I know they just reopened the Disneyland here in California at the end of, I think it's been open about a month now. And the nice thing, I don't know how it'll be there in Florida, probably different, but they're limiting the people. So you wait in line for 5 minutes for a ride. And it's really, so it's kind of a interesting time to, if you can get your hands on the tickets to go, because it's not crowded like it normally is.
Well, we had to make a reservation. And I think that they're keeping numbers down. You know, Florida is kind of changing all the time too. You can now, you don't need to wear a mask outside, but if you're in a restaurant or in a ride or in line for a ride, you must wear a mask. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The world is changing. Okay, hold on. All right. All right. Well, since we're probably close to kind of wrapping up a little bit here, this is something that I don't know about you. Are you a cookie, ice cream, or cake person? If you had to pick one, what would you pick? And I'm only going to say this because I knew that you had cookies at the bakery, all the cookies in that little case. So I would say you'd pick a cookie.
Yeah. Well, the bakery part's right. I think over any of those, I would pick sourdough bread to eat as a treat.
Right.
Especially in this day and age, right, where watching all the carbs. But of those three, actually, my favorite is ice cream. And more specifically, like, so right now, if I were to like, oh, I'm going to get a treat, you know, I would opt to like get an ice cream over, you know, baking some cookies. But even more specifically, gelato, because, you know, the whole Italian thing. And somehow it's supposed to be healthier for you than ice cream, but I don't know, it's still a treat. So that's what I would pick. That's what I would pick. All right, we'll do maybe one or two more each, and then call it a podcast. Let's see. I like the question, and I'm not sure I know what the answer. What I'll make a guess. What game or reality show would you do best on? So again, just thinking of what you like, there was that Project Runway show. Now, I don't know that you can sew and make your own clothes, so I don't know how well you would do on that show. I'm trying to think. You're definitely not Desperate Housewives material. Thank goodness, because we wouldn't be friends if you were. That's right.
There would be no podcast if that were the case.
Exactly. And I also don't see you like on like Survivor or The Biggest Amazing Race or any of that kind of
stuff,
no. Right?
Jesus, that's a nightmare.
Actually, maybe one of the like Chopped or like one of the cooking shows. Like I know when you get in the kitchen, you know, you make some nice meals and stuff for family and friends, but I don't know that you love that, but it's just like, what could you do? So I don't know.
Well, I think I love the Project Runway idea, yes.
Mm,
And if you remember, we took home ec, and is it 7th or 8th
yep.
grade? Was it Mrs. Foodie? Wasn't
Yes,
that a funny
because
name? Mrs.
right,
Foodie, home ec
right.
teacher.
I mean, the irony there, like
I
I don't
know,
even know if we got it when we were 13,
I
but
didn't.
right.
But I made a dress, and I loved it. And I love sewing. I just don't have a sewing machine anymore, and I don't have a whole lot of patience,
Yeah,
but I do love the fact, and I love watching that show just to see what they come up with and how creative
right.
they are. And all the times when I'm out thrifting too, I'll see a
Mm,
dress and I think, how can this be transformed? But
right.
I'm just not quite as skilled as I wish that
Okay.
I could be.
All right. Well, then I think that was a good guess
Yeah.
on my part. And I just remember I've watched the show a few times, and one time they had to make the stuff out of candy. Like I just remember this one guy doing all this business with licorice, and it was
Wow.
amazing what people can do with just about any kind of material, or like in this case, not material, but I don't know what you would call it, but it was candy. I remember that was the one that I remember the most. All right. You got a last one for me?
I do, and it's a good one to end with, I think,
Okay.
for as we are celebrating National Best Friend Day, and we invite our listeners to perhaps jot down some fun questions and answer for your BFF or your husband or your sister or mother. They really are kind of fun to think about. But back then when we met, did you think we'd be friends for this long?
Oh, that was see, that was the question I was thinking would be the great question to end on too. So,
Yeah.
so I did. Like I really, we were fast friends, and yes, I did think we would be friends all these years later. I think, um, and even when we were at that really like, okay, I'm going off, you're going to off to New York, and I'm going to Santa Barbara. Even then, I just felt like that we would be friends, and maybe because it just goes with it. It was what we've said a lot of times, it was easy to be friends together, and that no matter where we were or what we were doing or how many miles separated us, I just always believed that you would be there. I do. My
Hmm.
heart and core. I wasn't supposed to answer the question. Sorry, that was your question, right? But you can answer it now.
Oh. I don't know. I'm kind of like in this nostalgia, like
Right, a
fantasy
little
land.
bubble.
Um, but I'm thinking when you're young, you just really don't have the capacity to think forward very much,
Well, certainly not
honestly.
like to this stage of our lives, right?
Um, so am I surprised that we've been friends this long? Absolutely not. It's interesting though, as your life, ebbs and flows, and your friendships ebb and flow. I mean, I just feel, and we've discussed this and we've shared this with the friends that are in our close circle, that we just feel incredibly blessed
Yeah.
and have enormous gratitude for the fact that, the friendship has been easy and effortless, and, it continues to bring us both a huge amount of joy. And
Yeah.
we are able to, we're planning a trip this summer in California. I'm going to be coming out, and we
Yeah.
have just a little tiny one overnight that we're going to do something. And it's like, I just can't wait for that little, we get
I
time
know.
together, and, just we can hug again because the world
Yep.
is now open. So I just think that it's just those little things, just the
Yeah.
time that we continue to make an effort.
And we'll get our fix.
That's right.
And so, yeah, so on National Best Friend Day, call your friend, reminisce, get nostalgic with them. It's fun to remember back and to reminisce and to share stories. So that's what our podcast is all about, and we hope that you will do that on National Best Friend Day and all the days of the year that you're able to. So thanks, everybody.